Alright, motor's almost ready to get pulled out of that one. Went pretty smooth, just need fuel lines, transmission bolts, torque converter bolts, and then there's one random transmission cooler line. Alright, the motor is in. It was a little bit of a bearcat, but I probably have, I don't know, 40, 50 hours into it. Kind of stumbling my way through it, but it's done. First drive. Got really good oil pressure, way better than I used to. Show you some of the mess. New parts, trash, bolts, accessories from the 4.9, accessories radiator from the 5.0. So hopefully next time's pulling that motor, and then motor mounts for the 4.9, swapping the transmission cooler lines, checking out what kind of wire harness stuff I need to do, and that's about it. So, swiping sweat. Supposed to be 99 degrees today. Got her all disconnected. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to leave the AC connected on the truck that's not the donor and try and get that in. I'll have to figure out this, because I don't think I had that on the 93, so that might be interesting. Yeah. Anyways, right down here, trace your battery cable ground. There is a secret bolt that's kind of hard to see. Right in the middle of the screen there, you can kind of see it. And your transmission lines and your battery cable are stuck to that. So that's one bolt. It was on the i6 and the 5.0. So you have to get that. Otherwise, you just get everything disconnected on the engine compartment. As you can see, stuff I wasn't 100% sure on, I labeled it. 2 to the hose 2, AC. Tried to keep it simple. Otherwise, it's pretty much just that. I did leave the AC connected on this truck. And hopefully that'll still work. Yeah, then underneath you got your 2 motor mounts and your 4 bell housing. I just used like 5 extensions and an impact, and it came right out on the i6, so I hope that happens on this. I already got my motor mounts pulled and my the bolts pulled, and transfer or torque converter to flex plate bolts off. There's 4 of those. So I just got to get the bell housing bolts and that one on the side, and this one's ready to come out. Alright, no motor in the good truck. It's right there. And there's the new one. So that's the update there. Next time we're going to start working on swapping motor mounts from the donor into here, transmission lines. I think there's going to be the battery connect's going to switch. There's going to be a couple little things. We'll figure it out. Stay with. Alright, so with any luck, today we're going to put the new Ford 4.9, 300, i6, whatever you want to call it, into that truck. I over-tightened, I think, the pushrod gasket cover a little bit, and it leaked a little, so I've got to redo that this morning before we throw it in there. But otherwise, pretty much ready to go. I don't think that clamp's actually doing anything, but so the new i6 motor mounts are on. The should have left them there or taken a video for you, but you can see these 2 bolts right here. The V8 bolts, at least the ones for the 351 and the 5.0, or motor mounts, bolted right there. 300 mounts are all bolts, 3 and 4. The 5.0 had 4 bolts here, 2 bolts there, 3 rivets there. So I took an air hammer with a chisel and was able to cut the heads off, and then an air hammer to punch them back through. It was a big chore, but I probably spent an hour or so working on it and was able to get them. I did switch. Now remember, my donor is a 93 and this is a 94. I did switch. Oh, let's see. Transmission lines going to the radiator. Still got to bolt them in, but they're sitting there. Those had to get changed because they go to the left side of the engine bay instead of they go to the passenger instead of the driver. And the starter and alternator harness was different, so I changed that. As far as I know, there's only 3 other differences in the in the electronics. Okay. So yeah, the AC unit is the same. This just has another port in the bracket that the 4.9 did not. So I'm not really sure. And that's an engine harness. This is coming off the engine harness, so I don't have anything to connect to that. So I'll have to figure that out. The other issue is this is a speed density unit. And the wiring harness goes into my main bundle. So that's fun. And I would just pull the wiring harness out of this and put it in here, but this one has airbags. And I'd kind of like to keep that. And of course, those, where are they? Oh, they're in the front, that's right. Oh. Well, anyways, I've looked, and here they are. Those also go into that main bundle. Right there. So I'm going to have to open up one or both main harnesses and track that kind of stuff down. So that's going to be a pain. But otherwise, this hasn't been too bad. I did mention before that there's 4 bolts on the transmission, the bell housing to the engine, but there's actually 6. Yes, 6. I think that's all I've really got to talk about today. So hopefully the next video you see the motor's in. Alright, the motor is in. It was a little bit of a Bearcat, but it's in. So next time I work on it, I'll be starting to connect some peripherals. This, once again, was a mass air, and this one's speed density, so gonna have to somehow get that wired up. Ouch, that's hot. Yeah. But as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to see if I can torque the motor to transmission bolts. I've got them in there and ratchet tight, but I was kind of hoping to torque them, but they're kind of hard to do with a bendy thing on your ratchet and everything. But I'll be able to get a couple of them. And then flex plate bolts. I got that motor mount already torqued down, and this one just about. It was quite a chore to get the motor in. This i6 is longer, so we kind of had to go sideways and then bring her in, get it above the motor mounts, jack the transmission up, get them to mate, and then get the flex plate to torque converter bolts to line up, and the transmission to the engine, the bell housing to the block studs. That took it took probably an hour or more of fidgeting to finally get that in. But it is in, so there's that. First drive. Got really good oil pressure, way better